Hello guys, and welcome back to FM22, and we are currently still in Bolivia. It's actually only a couple of days later compared to the last match we played in the previous episode, and then the intake came in. And the reason I'm gonna come back now and not later, because I didn't really know when I would come back, I'm probably gonna clip quite heavily in this episode. It's gonna be a very strange episode because things could happen from here on and until the next season that I might need to show. And this is one of the things where it's interesting, right? The intake is interesting because it's actually a very excellent intake. And there is a couple of guys in there that are good enough for the first team, but not as good as our first team or the first. We have a couple of players that are better than these guys, but they are definitely not bad. So I'm considering not moving away from Wilstermann. I'm considering, but it might still be the best option. If we can get away to a bigger league somewhere or a bigger team, it would maybe be advisable to try and go out to another team. And I will probably still do that, but I just want to get back here and start this episode off by showing you quickly that we do have a decent intake. I'm not going to get all of these guys in. I've already taken a look at them. I've already given them contracts, and I will show you these guys if they're going to be part of next season. I don't want to show you these guys if I'm deciding to move away anyway. But I just want to show that the intake is actually quite good here in Wilstermann. Well. So, Wilstermann it is. I have accepted a new contract with Wilstermann, and there is, only one reason here. It's the 10th of December now, which is 2 months later compared to when we were looking at the intake. And I only have 1 month left on my contract, and if we didn't take this offer now, we would get released, right? I have tried to get into other teams, but I didn't even get an interview. The main issue here is, of course, my profile is shite. I don't even have a training batch or anything. We are just bad. And we need to develop our numbers even more to be able to get anywhere, it seems. I didn't try any Bolivian teams in the best league, but I did try a lot of different places. Probably 15, 20 other teams, and none of them went in for me. So, we are gonna stay with Wilstermann for 1 more year. What I also want to say is that most of the youngsters is gonna stay. Most of them are gonna stay. And some of them are gonna be quite expensive, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Also, Mercado here is actually on a 120 wages pound contract now. Yeah, I don't think I would find a better goalkeeper anyway. And you know what? His contract was running out. Here's my problem with all this situation here. If we go into our competition and into Segunda and into the final round, which it is, they lost. They lost in the final stages. Dang it. We're not going to get rid of them. They're going to be there next season as well. So that's not great. Yeah, that's actually not great at all. I don't know what can we expect from next season. Probably around 4th, 5th, or 6th as well. I would see top 5 would be. If we could get into top 5 next season, I would be happy about that, because we do not have our best players anymore. They will be gone. They do not want to sign a new contract. I'm talking about Lopez. I'm talking about Figo. I'm talking about Saavedra. I'm talking about anyone you think. Oh, he's a decent player in your squad. They're gonna be gone. They're not gonna be here. So yeah, there is that. Anyway, guys, I think I'm not gonna come back. I think this episode here is like end of season / going into preseason, right? But I'm not sure what I'm gonna show you guys in the preseason. I'm just gonna show you some key things in this episode. So if you don't like that kind of thing, you can just jump to the end of this preseason, and that is going to be the next episode, right? Where we are going to look at the players, look at the tactic, and stuff like that. So if you like to see a couple of bits and pieces throughout the preseason and the next half year, because that's going to be the next half year, then stick around in this episode. Alright guys, so I kind of know what this episode is gonna be mostly about now. It's gonna be about, of course, the rebuild, because this is gonna be a rebuild quite significantly. We are still in December, so it's not that far ahead, but I've spent a lot of time looking at some of the youngsters, trying to figure out where we are missing, having some weak points and stuff like that, who we are gonna, or likely gonna have in the when the preseason is gonna start and stuff like that. Now, I want to quickly go over this. Goalkeeping area, we have these two. One of them is a new one, this guy Flores, he's a new one. He is okay as a backup. Mercado is going to be here for another season. I gave him another contract, 120 wages, because I think he's been fairly good, and I'm okay with 120 wages on him. And I don't think I could find any. I took a quick look. I couldn't really find anyone that looked any better than him, so I'm okay with that. Now, left back area, we do have two new players. Again, youngsters. We got this guy, Reyes, who is actually fairly decent. He's not a bad player. He's not at all a bad player. I'm very happy about this youngster coming in through our intake. We'll take a more in-depth look at them when we get to the the episode going into the next season or the end of this preseason. I'm just going over a couple of things here that I think would be cool to talk about before before I'm getting into the preseason and transfers and all that. So Amachi is the other one over there. He's not very good. That is probably somewhere where we could have a backup or a better player than Reyes as well. In the central defend area, we have, again, lots of new players coming in. One of the best players we got from... actually, we got two fairly good players from the intake. This guy's one of them. He is very, very good, actually. He's not very, very tall, but he's very versatile in what he can do. And I think this is going to be a guy we're going to build around in the defense. He's, of course, 16 years old, so you know it's always trouble when you have a 16-year-old in there. But he's a fairly decent player. He's an upgrade of what we did last year, or what we had last year on this spot, that's for sure. So that's fairly good. Another one is this guy, is Jose Vaca. Now, he's only considered a 1-star potential ability. I consider him to be almost as good as the other guy, actually. His weakness is his strength, but otherwise, actually a fairly good player again. And he's also reasonable left-footed. That's why he's also over here, but he's also over here, actually. And we also got Rier. He's from last season. He's not very good. He's nowhere near the other two's level. And we also got that player that I tried to sign in the throughout the season, last season. And he might not be as good as we hoped he could be. So... You know what? The central defense, I'm not too worried about it right now. Is it gonna be better than we had last season? Yeah, I think it might be. I think our central defenders might be better already from our youth intake than it was last season, which is great. On the other side, we got Rivas, and right now the backup is Rios, who is also on the left-hand side. So we are definitely lacking inverted wing backs, one or two of them, right? In terms of defensive midfield, we got a new player in there. Again, probably one of the best intakes we have. It is Aldo Diaz, who is a fairly good defensive midfielder, 2-footed, so he will receive it from one or the other place. He doesn't care. He will move it around for us. I think this is one of the better players next season, or likely to be, right? So that's pretty good. We also got the guy from last year, Montano, fairly okay. Good backup to have in there. So I'm actually kind of okay with the defensive midfield. An extra backup there would be decent, just someone that could go down and play there if both of them are gonna get injured. Midfield, oh boy, we're gonna lose Figo, we're gonna lose a couple. Mercado, who was on a loan deal. All the loan deals are of course gonna be gone. So midfield is probably where the biggest improvement can be made, right? The biggest improvement we can do is in the midfield. None of these guys are what I would consider even someone I would like to start at any point during the season. None of these two guys. They are not very good. They are not very good at all. On the left-hand side, as a winger, now I'm considering to change the formation actually, because we do have Tereses and we also have another guy called Paz. We cannot see him here, but we got another guy called Paz, an intake, who can both play in here as an AMC. Tereses is actually best in there as an AMC, so I'm considering changing things around, but I'm not sure if that's the ideal thing to do yet. We could consider a narrow system. We could try and do that in the friendlies, but right now, for wingers, Tereses is out here like last season, but he is kind of injury prone, so yeah, when he is playing, he's doing okay, I suppose. But still, he hasn't really been as good as many of the other guys last season. One of the other new guys is Chavas, who I see a lot of potential in. I think this guy could be fairly good. That flair of 15 and also kind of two-footed is leaving me to believe that this guy might be better to play than Terrazas over time. So the left side, you know, we might change to something else than wingers. We will see, but I'm a little bit worried about that because we do have a lot of good wingers on the right-hand side. We actually got Vargas over here, who is a decent winger, kind of. At least he showed promising signs last season. He did actually really good for us last season. I don't know how many assists he got, but probably 6 or 7. Actually, can we see it if we go in here? 14, we probably need to go into the history. Only 2 assists, wow, but 7.1 in overall rating. He wasn't bad, that's for sure. Another of the youngsters, Milton Penna, again, a decent player, probably better than Vargas even. So, again, very happy about this guy coming in. He's also a striker, which, yeah, he's kind of doubling down on the striker and winger area. He could play both places, I would say. He's also a decent pressing forward, so again, a decent player to have, right? Morales, also from last season, another of those wingers that did kind of all right on the right-hand side when he played. So we're kind of okay in the AMR area. Up front, we got Terrazas and Penna, so we definitely need to strengthen this if we want to get anywhere next season. Midfielders and strikers, potentially inverted wingbacks that are a little bit better than what we have. That is where we need to strengthen quite a bit. Central defenders, sure, if we could get someone in like Morales from last season, that would be ideal on the right-hand side here. So, quite a lot to do in the transfer window and in the preseason. I just want to show you this, guys, because this is what I got to, you know, play with. It's not bad, it's just not optimal. But we do have 8 loan deals to play with as well, which is likely gonna be free deals, so we need to be a little bit more proactive in the way I'm trying to get those loan deals done, because we had a couple of loan deals last season that wasn't too good. But that could happen again. Honestly, it could, because I might get, you know, sometimes you take a chance, right? Sometimes you take a chance, but I need to do a little bit better here if we are to get into that top 4 or top 5 even next season, because these players are definitely not as good as last season. In some areas they are, but overall, not really. Very quick, small update here after, I think a month. Yeah, I think it's about a month in. We are at the 19th of January. I have signed 5 new players really quickly. It's an inverted wingback on the left-hand side. He is rather okay, 160 wages. Very happy about that one. We also got this guy who I tried to get him in early on, in the middle of the other season, and we couldn't get him in because we signed him now, which is annoying. But, he's probably going to be back up on the left-hand side. And we also got one big deal here. This is a big guy. He is probably going to be our main central defender on the right-hand side. He's on fairly high wages of 300. And I also paid a little bit of money for him, but that's okay, I guess. Because he is fairly good at what we need him to do, right? And he even got the 11 pace, which we definitely needed in that central defense. So, the other guy we got is Mikado, back in on loan. He had a really good a really good season last season, so I decided to go in for him again, and we got him. He's right-footed in the midfield, so that's good. We are filling out that spot. Yeah, I think he had like 7.32 in average rating, so I'm very happy about getting him in again, actually. The other thing is up here, the striker, Locoso. This guy I got in because of his statistics. I didn't really know much about him in terms of his attributes before I got him in. I just got him. There were like 11 other teams going in for him, and I thought, sure, why not? Let's go. Let's try and go and get him, because he looks absolutely fantastic from the statistics. Yeah, he was playing in the same league as us, just in another group, and he was scoring all day long, having 10 XG, and you know, just looking like a really, really good player. So I thought, sure, let's go in for him. He doesn't look that great, but the statistics is actually telling us that he should be doing quite well in the games. But he's likely going to be the backup to either Penna or Terrazas next season, so yeah. bear that in mind. Now you can see here that I also put up a new asymmetric 4-2-3-1 tactic here. It is a high press. We are not doing any. It's not there yet. The friendlies, but the reason I've done this is very obviously right here. I cannot find any central midfielders on the left-hand side. There is actually no midfielders that are any good that I can go out and get. At least not right now. It could change along these 5 months that we have in the preseason, but right now it might look like it would be a good idea to change to something else, and that could be the AMC, because we do have Torres, who is natural in there, and we do have this guy, a youngster that we just got in by the intake, who is also rather damn decent. So that could happen in the future, going into the next season. If I can get it to work. That's the thing. If I can get it to work, that might be something we're looking at. Anyway, guys, just a quick update and let's move on. Another small update here. It is the 9th of February, so actually just a couple of weeks later compared to the last one, but you know, things happen really fast here for some reason. I'm finding some pretty decent players. We have 5 new players. The first one is Soria, and he is a defensive midfielder, but he can also play in the central defense or go up to the midfield, likely mostly in the defensive midfield. He is, I would say, a rotational option for both the midfielders and the defensive midfielders. So he's like the third option when it comes to defensive midfielders, and like the third option for all the other slots as well, probably. So that's a pretty decent player to get in. He's on loan, so he's not going to cost us anything, which is nice. The other, or one of the other ones that I have brought in is also, finally I found one, a midfielder on the left-hand side. Actually, I got 2 of them now. So the first one here, who is, I think both of these guys that I got in, they are both fairly good. And this guy is actually really cheap. 100 wages. No, one wage. He's not that great going forward, but he's very great on the ball. 17 touch, 13 passing, 15 technique. I mean, and also 13 decision. Making him sit in there in the midfield, he is likely going to play on attack, but he's probably more a deep-lying playmaker kind of player. Very strong left foot, which was what I was looking for. He's also not the worst in terms of his acceleration. A natural fitness of 15, so he's not bad. He's not a bad player, that's for sure. The other guy is, he actually came in as a star player. And he also gets, I believe, he gets right now around 170. Why is it actually showing it like that? 130, yeah, 130. So I believe the other guy also got 130 or 120. So yeah, they do get money, but this guy is also a midfielder. He is, I would say he's probably a little bit better going forward, but he's actually also an AMC. I'm retraining him as a midfielder, but yeah, another playing in there, so that's great to see. Now we have I wouldn't say a star signing, because that is actually a star signing. Both of these are actually star signings for us. They might just not show it in the the star reporting here, but we have one more player to look at, and that is Anderson, and he's another Brazilian. That's my second Brazilian, so we got 2 foreigners. He is 43 years old. I don't very often get anything that is that old or anywhere near being that old, but I did it. Now this guy is an inward wingback or an AMC, and he's not bad at all. He's actually not. If we are gonna play him as an inward wingback, which I think we will, he's gonna sit in there in the midfield as an inward wingback and completely control that match for us. He's going to be very hard to take the ball off, so that's an interesting one. And like I said, he can also play an AMC, like an Ingante role or something like that. I also moved Ortega up to the main squad again. He is one of the youngsters who didn't really look too good, but I kind of don't want to go out and find more. But I kind of needed one extra up here, and I think he could do the job if we really need that extra winger. Same with Amachi, also moved him up again. Not what I'm looking for. I think the weakest spot in our side right now is probably our left side. If we are getting injuries on the 2 main players, yeah, it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest. But overall, I'm pretty happy with what we got. I think overall we are very close to being almost at the same level as we were last season, or close to it at least, but probably a little bit more with death. We could still go for this one. We could definitely go for this tactic here. With all these AMCs we have, it's not out of the question. I think Terrazas and Rodriguez would do really well in those roles, and then we will just have more midfielders to rotate with. Also leaving maybe Terrazas to do the left wing here, and Rodriguez and Anderson could go up here, or even Paz could go in there. But it all depends on how that's gonna go in the friendlies. Anyway, guys, that is the end of that update. I am not sure if there's gonna be many more updates until all the friendlies have been playing in 4 or 5 months' time. But yeah, here we go. I have one more small update to make here. It's only one player, but it is a very, very big one. It is Salazar. I don't know what his first name is. Elio Salazar. Look at that dude. Holy moly, that's a big signing. That is Figo. That is Figo 2.0, right? He's at that level. He is at that level. Now, what he cannot do is finish anything. So he will likely be played as a support. I don't want him to make those runs and get in, because he's not gonna score any goals anyway. But he is someone that can sit pretty deep and do bits for us, right? He's gonna be the key man in there. I didn't know I would get him in. He's on 200 wages, which is actually not that bad. Now, there is one other thing I actually want to talk about here, because I have just seen that in our competition, some certain team is not in there anymore. There is a new team called Suka. So where are they? Well, they are in the best league. Why? Yeah, that's a good question, because I thought they lost their game, but apparently they were playing more games. If we take a look at the previous season here and go into the final stages, let's see. Let's go into the final stages and also take 3. Go rounds, no, 3, but all of them playoffs. See, I thought there were only one match, and they actually lost. I don't know how they got to this. See, I don't know how this works, because they lost their first game, right, against these Torre Forete, but they still managed to go in here because reasons. So they still got into the semi-finals for some reason, because even when they lost this, they still got in there. Because there is a missing team or something, like I don't know. Apparently that's how it's going on. So they still managed to get up there to the final and win against these guys who they lost against down here. 4-2, so they went up. Now, that's not the only thing that happened, because there was another team actually winning. Because this team, I believe it's in here. Yeah, they actually also had a chance to go up the Division Professional Promotion Playoffs. So there are 2 spots to get up there. But it's inside some crazy playoffs, right? But they didn't manage to get up there. It was these guys, Universitario di Vinto. I think they were probably in the best league to begin with, and they stayed up there by winning over Torre Forete. Actually, we can go up and check that out. Let's go up to the best league here and check that out. Yeah, they had the last place, so they were going into a playoff or something like that, right? To play against those guys that we looked at before. So there are actually 2 spots to get into the best league. There is, but it's hard. It's very hard. But that mean that this season is not gonna be that hard, because these guys, Suka, is not that great. This is not a good team. I don't know where they're gonna end up, but they're definitely nowhere near the same strength as we had before in the league. We have one less big boy in the league, which means our rivals next season is likely gonna be Universitario di Sucre, like last season. They are probably gonna be in there. We are probably equal strength to them, I would say. And then, of course, the big boys is likely gonna be EM, EM, right? EM. I think that is gonna be the 2 big boys we have to beat, like really have to beat to get up there. Is that possible? Well, we have a completely new team. Who knows? Who knows, man? But that's gonna be interesting. But we're not even in the preseason yet. Actually, I think it's starting right now. I actually think the friendlies can actually start right now. I forgot about that. I have done all the training and stuff, but I need to do all my friendlies now. So I'll put that in. And I actually think I'm gonna end the... I don't know if I'm gonna end the episode here. Probably not, actually. We'll probably take... we'll probably have a couple more things to look at during the friendlies. There are so many months left, so I might as well just let it run a little bit longer and then have, you know, a more in-depth look at the new players we have in a next upcoming episode. But I still think we got a couple of things to do here before we are getting to that point. There could even be more players going out, more players coming in, who knows. But I'm fairly happy with how this went so far. And I'm fairly happy that it happened this early on in the preseason, because that means I can really develop a tactic around the players we have, which is great. I don't think we're gonna change too much in our tactic. This is the new one, of course. So we're actually playing right now with a Carrilero maybe in there. I don't think that actually suits the new guy. I really don't. I don't think he's a Carrilero. I think he's a central midfielder on support kind of type. But it might not be this tactic, because now we have so many midfielders, we could easily do this. The only reason I'm saying I maybe don't want to do this is because we don't really have a central midfielder that is very good on attack. But you know what? I don't think it's out there going for the same kind of high pressure tactic, and also at least develop a tactic that could be good against some of the better teams in the league. Something like the standard here, or even this. Who knows? But anyway, guys, I'll move on into some friendlies, and I'll see you soon. The last update in this episode here in the middle of the preseason. We are the 4th of May. We have 2 new players. We got a rotational option. Actually, that's not true. I think he's actually our main guy up front. This dude right here, David Hurana. I think that's how you're pronouncing it. I'm not sure. He's 25 years old. He's a decent player, right? He's a pretty decent poacher. Probably gonna play as a pressing forward anyway. So that's one of them. The other one is a 2-footed left winger, Daza. He's in on loan, and again, I kind of needed some rotation options here, because Terrazas and Chavez seems to be injury prone. So I thought, yeah, I might need someone else, and this guy might be the best of the lot. So he will probably also be playing quite a lot next season. A few other things to mention here is, well, at least before I'm ending this episode, is how well the preseason have gone so far. As you can see, I'm pretty much halfway there, which is, well, that's... I mean, this takes quite some time to get through, because I'm digging into them, right? So, but yeah, halfway there, and it looks rather damn good, which is great. We are conceding a little bit too much, but I think that's how it goes when we are playing higher lines. So yeah, and a funny little fact before I'm leaving you, and we will get into the rest of the preseason in the next episode. It kind of turned out that this high press asymmetric 4-2-3-1 is the one to go for. I didn't really think it would work that well, but we will get more into the tactic in the next episode. But yeah, that's it, guys. So if you would like to see me go through all these players and also go pretty much in depth with the tactic and the players in the next episode, well, then that's the next episode for you guys. If you do not like that kind of thing and you just want me to get into the next season and get on with it, well, then jump over the next episode. So there we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next season.